Welcome to our latest update on the ongoing war in Ukraine from the War Insider. The 356th day of the war has begun. The main thing on the morning of February 14th, Denmark has transferred all of its artillery to Ukraine. The authorities of France, the United States, and Canada are asking their citizens to leave the territories of Russia and Belarus. A pro-Russian coup is being prepared in Moldova. A new Rammstein will take place today. But first, a review of the map of the battle actions in Ukraine. On the border with Belarus in the training grounds of Belarus, combat training of Russian troops continues. However, there are no signs of forming attacking groups. On the Svatovo section, positional battles continue. The enemy is carrying out offensive actions from the occupied Plochanka and Kreminna. On the Bakhmut section, the Russians failed to gain a foothold on the highway to Slavyansk, but they continue to be under it. Between Razdalivka and Veseloy, the enemy managed to capture a bit of territory. In Bakhmut itself, the Russian army continues to pressure, with minor successes in certain quarters of the private sector. All attacks on the road to Konstantinovka have been repulsed, and there is no threat of cutting the path. Over Bakhmut, the Ukrainian air defense forces shot down and Su-24 aircraft of the occupiers. The statement that the Russians took Krasnohor near Bakhmut is not true. The speaker of the eastern troops of the Ukrainian armed forces. The Avdiivka sector, the enemy has significantly increased its activity in the Avdiivka area. Heavy fighting continues between her and Novoselivka Druga. Russian attempts to occupy Nevelskoye continue. The Zaporizhzhia sector in the last days, Russian military is attacking from Robotyno to Malaya Tokmetka. Now the Russians have approached close to the T-0803 highway and aim to occupy the road for further advancement to the north. The Tavrida and Kherson sectors, the Russian army continues to shell the frontline towns and villages. However, Ukrainian military controls the situation on the front line. You can now see satellite imagery from Vuhledar showing the horrifying scenes of fields that have been shelled by artillery around the outskirts of the city in the Pavlovka village area. Ukrainian aviation has carried out 15 strikes in the past day on areas of occupation concentration, and rocket forces and artillery units have destroyed a command post, 7 areas of enemy concentration, 2 power plants, and a storage facility of Russian occupiers' ammunition. There have been cases when Russian military personnel and units belonging to the 1st Army Corps of the South, they refused to go on the offensive. Therefore, mobilized in the occupied part of the Donetsk region, after a 2-week preparation, they are being transferred to the Avdiivka direction as part of the assault units to continue the offensive. Russians don't know where the Ukrainian armed forces will strike, so they are reinforcing 2 directions, according to British intelligence. Thus, they are strengthening their defense on the Zaporizhzhia and Luhansk directions, as evidenced by footage from open sources. The fortifications are being built near the occupied Tarasovka, Vasilievka, and Orikhovo. The authorities of the US, Canada, and France are calling on their citizens to leave the territories of Russia and Belarus due to military action in Ukraine. The Ministry of Defense of Ukraine has reported that Denmark has handed over all of its self-propelled howitzers Caesar to Ukraine. U.S. Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin has flown to the 9th meeting of the Ukraine Defense Contact Group, which will be held today, February 14th, at NATO headquarters. Finland is preparing a new military aid package for Ukraine. Whether tanks will be included is unknown. Currently, there is intense discussion about sending Leopard 2, said the head of the Finnish MFA, Pekka Haavisto. The 10th EU sanctions package against Russia will include a ban on the export of trucks, construction equipment, and electronic components to Russia, Politico reported. According to the publication's sources, the 10th package of EU sanctions against Russia will include 4 banks, including Alpha Bank, as well as 130 organizations and individuals, politicians and propagandists. In addition, sanctions are planned against Russian government allies from Iran and Mali. In 2023, Italy plans to completely stop gas supplies from Russia, said the Minister of Economic Development, Adolfo Urso. This year we will get rid of gas supplies from Russia. Starting next year, we will be able to supply gas to other countries and soon become the gas hub of Europe, thanks to the doubling of deliveries through the Trans-Adriatic gas pipeline from Azerbaijan, said the minister. The president of Moldova, Maya Sandu, has claimed that a pro-Russian coup is being prepared in the country. According to her, the plan involves capturing administrative buildings during anti-government protests with the involvement of militants from Russia, Belarus, Serbia, and Montenegro. Their goal is to overthrow the legitimate government and establish power in the hands of Kremlin loyalists. Sandu also noted that the earlier concerns expressed by Zelensky about Russia stirring up the situation in Moldova have been confirmed by Moldovan security services. The information was also confirmed by the secretary of the CISB Danilov on a telemarathon. Recall that earlier Lavrov hinted that Moldova may be the next target of Russian aggression. For the first time in 30 years, Russian Northern Fleet ships have gone to sea with tactical nuclear weapons on board, reports Norwegian intelligence. Also, in the annual report of the agency, it is noted that in the war in Ukraine, Russia has exhausted 3/4 of its modern ground-to-ground missiles. However, the country aggressor still has large reserves of military equipment, especially of the old type. In addition, the Russian land forces, which were based on the Kola Peninsula, suffered major losses in personnel and equipment during the fighting in Ukraine. NATO may provide Ukraine with modern combat aircraft for self-defense, Stoltenberg. At the same time, the Secretary General noted that NATO allies will not intervene in the war that Russia has unleashed against Ukraine. Moreover, the NATO Secretary General stated, almost a year after the invasion, Putin is not preparing for peace, but is launching new offensive actions. This is all the news for today. Don't forget to subscribe and hit the like button if you enjoyed the video. We'll be back with more updates and information tomorrow. Thanks for watching.